Hey guys, my name is Matumio, and today we have learned that DICE could be possibly creating an unannounced DLC for Battlefield 4. These rumors, of course, have been circulating around the interwebs for quite some time now, but just the other day, a DICE employee was trying to gauge our reaction and trying to gauge our enthusiasm about the prospect of creating more maps from Battlefield 3 and reintroducing and reimagining them into Battlefield 4. Essentially, what he was asking was, what would be our top 3 maps to see back into the current title? This, of course, got me really excited, and honestly, it would be a great way for DICE just to give back to the community. Like, be like, hey, we appreciate you guys for sticking around with this entire time, and get back into the good graces of the community overall. I don't think I'm alone on this. When Battlefield 4 first launched, it was not up to my standards. It was full of bugs and glitches. You know, Levolution was a cool idea. It was a cool concept, having the skyscraper fall down and having these awesome set pieces changing the way that the map progressed. The bugs and the netcode problems that stemmed from these ideas and these concepts weren't worth it. Like, there were so many problems when the game launched that I don't even think it was up to what DICE's standards were. And while over the last year, they have been improving the game significantly, like every single month or every couple of months, we get a big patch. They've introduced the CTE server where we can directly give our feedback to DICE and let them know what we're thinking about the changes that they're implementing. The final thing that would just be like, hey, we want to give back to the community, we want to get back into your good graces, would be to do a DLC like this that was unannounced or, you know, wasn't planned. It would be completely free, or hopefully it would be completely free, and just give us a couple of maps from Battlefield 3. That would be incredible, at least in my opinion. And so, in light of this news, of course I went back and played Battlefield 3. I was like, alright, I accept this challenge. I accept trying to figure out which maps I would like to see reintroduced. And the first one, of course, has to be Grand Bazaar. There is something magical about this map. The way that it's laid out, the long lanes, the epic firefights that ensue because of this long-range type of combat. And as long as you're not playing on like a 64-man rush server, because that gets a little bit too crazy and it gets a little bit too bogged down, this is easily one of the best infantry-focused maps from the vanilla version of Battlefield 4. For example, if you haven't noticed, I haven't died, or in the gameplay that you are witnessing, for a long time. Like, this has been one of the craziest kill streaks I've been on in a very long time. And the reason why I feel like I was able to go on said kill streak, and the reason why I am so successful, is because of the way that Grand Bazaar is laid out. A lot of maps in Battlefield, and a lot of maps in many video games, they give you too many ways at flanking around and catching your enemy by surprise. And while you can still flank around on Grand Bazaar, like, don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of different ways for you to attack a particular objective, it's nowhere near as bad as these other maps. And the reason why I say that this is a benefit on Grand Bazaar is because no matter how good you are, if you are playing on a map where there are 1,000 different angles that the enemy can shoot you from, and you have to look out for all of these different angles, and a bullet could be flying from any direction, doesn't matter how good you are, eventually you're going to die from an angle that you couldn't predict. Like, someone is going to be in a position where you're not going to be able to look out for that, and they're going to immediately take you out. Skill is still involved. A better player is always going to do better on these maps, but it leads to very frustrating gameplay because you just don't feel like you have as much power, or you don't have as much influence on these maps, simply because of the map design and the millions of different angles that you have to look out for. On Grand Bazaar, it's usually only 3 or 4 different routes that the enemy can approach you from. And because of that, if you are someone who wields a weapon that you have mastered and you are amazing at the gun mechanics, you can go on these incredible kill streaks. I think that's the reason why I've had some of my best matches, some of my best gameplay moments on Grand Bazaar, is because of the way that the map is laid out. I know where the enemy is going to be coming from, I can predict their movement, I can work around it, and because my individual skill means more in these situations, we're direct firefight, you know, they're not able to shoot me off on the left-hand side of the map from a rock that's a million miles away, nowhere I could predict that. Because those situations aren't happening happening as often. It comes down to more individual skill, and that allows you to do incredibly well. Like this is the reason why I think so many people adored this map. The next map on my list easily has to go to Epicenter. The Aftermath DLC was easily one of the best expansion packs that DICE has done in a very long time, especially for Battlefield 3. And honestly, if they wanted to take all of those maps and put them into Battlefield 4, wouldn't complain. That is how much I adored playing on this expansion pack. And the reason why I liked Epicenter so much is along the same vein of the reasons why I like Grand Bazaar so much. It's very well designed. The map is laid out in a way where you're not getting surrounded by your enemies. Still plenty of flanking routes, plenty of ways for you to attack objectives, but once again, you can control what's happening in your vicinity. But on top of that, it also fits perfectly with DICE's love of levolution. The whole theme of Aftermath was that an earthquake occurred in the middle of a city and it destroyed everything. Rubble is all over the place, buildings are crumbling down to the ground, there's aftershocks, and if DICE wanted to expand upon that levolution, if they wanted to expand upon it, they could do some really interesting things on Epicenter. One idea that I've heard been tossed around is that the map could start off as a normal city, not destroyed. The earthquake could occur. It could rupture the road in the middle of the map, that iconic rupture in the center. The dynamic of the map would completely change. It would turn into Battlefield 3's Epicenter, and it could go from there. That would be incredible. Not exactly sure if the Frostbite engine has that capabilities because it's a pretty big deal. I mean, it's a massive earthquake to cause that amount of destruction, but if it was done correctly and if they had the horsepower and the engine was capable of it, that would be incredible. The last map on my list, and this is my favorite map in the Battlefield series, is Strike at Karkand. Maybe it's just nostalgia, maybe it's just because I've been playing on this for what feels like 10 years now, but Strike at Karkand is a masterpiece. Every single section of this map could be used in other first-person shooters and be one of the best maps in those games. And then when you put all of them together in Strike at Karkand, it flows majestically, and it truly is a masterpiece. It doesn't have helicopters, it doesn't have jets, and I know a lot of people enjoy that type of combat, but if you are looking for an infantry-focused urban warfare with some vehicles dashed on in there, like there are tanks, there are LAVs, it does it incredibly well. Battlefield 3's version of Strike at Karkand, in my opinion, was one of the best maps ever created. Like, I will stand by that point, and I will always stand by that point, because I adored that map. And so overall, those are the 3 maps that I would love to see reintroduced into Battlefield 4. They don't even have to add any cool levolution moments to that. If they don't like my idea about Epicenter, that's cool. If they want to keep it simple, want to keep it safe, if they just reimagine them in the Frostbite 3 engine, I would be one happy camper. But let me know what you guys think about all of this. Would you love if DICE actually made a Veterans DLC? Do you even think it's possible that they would make some more Battlefield 3 maps just to kind of give back to the community? Let me know down below. But also, let me know what maps you would like to see reintroduced into Battlefield 4 if they ever did this. I know a lot of people love Damn It Van Peak because it was probably one of the best rush maps back in that game. Noshar Canals, Noshar Canals, because of the TDM, like people are still playing on that to this very day. One of the most popular maps back in that title. Let me know what maps you would like to see if they ever decided to do this. But yeah, guys, until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.